Hello, hello, hello. What is going on? You are watching and, of course, listening to Tags Live, aka Talk About Gay Sex, the live edition, where we are here every Wednesday night, including in December. Okay, maybe not December, will be one day to celebrate, but this is episode 526. I'm glad to be back. I'm your host, Steve. Alongside Kodi Maurice Doggette. How the hell you doing, Cody?
Hello, darlings. I'm doing wonderful. It's so lovely to be here with you in December, darling.
It is. You two, you and Teddy held down the fort last week. It
I
was a
know, we
great
missed you so much.
episode. Yep.
Yeah,
You did a great job. So very cool with that. We have so much to get into on this episode, but one of the things we want to tell you about is we are on episode number 8 of a Certain Age, our brand podcast. And this week is with Francisco Ramos, and he is a certified yoga instructor. But we're really talking about retreats, his company that he started, which is Zen Casa. And we're also talking about meditation, sound baths. And we just had such a great conversation with Francisco. I want to go on one of his, I think I might go on his trip to Puerto Vallarta since I go there so much. And 20 Springs kind of coincides with Gay Pride, so I'm looking forward to that. But Cody, did you love talking to Francisco in our Of a Certain Age episode 8?
of course. I loved it. He was so knowledgeable. He seems so zen. I mean, he probably is so zen by all accounts. And he
But
seems
not
so,
too zen, right?
but
Like, yeah. I mean,
not overly zen to where he puts me to sleep.
no.
But definitely is so spiritual, and it was just so wonderful to talk to him and get some beautiful insights from him. So yeah, I loved it.
Episode 8 of a Certain Age, Owaka, as we like to say, wherever you get your podcast. It dropped this morning, and we have another new episode next Wednesday coming out. Check that out. Well, we are in our year in review of 2023. So, for the next several episodes of this year, we're going to be dropping little tidbits of what we were talking about at the beginning of 2023, see how they still hold up. And we actually have a clip we're going to play of what we were talking about on episode 428 that dropped January 5th. It was actually Tags Live. And at that time, you'll notice in the script, it's a little bit different video because we were still on the platform Vocal, if you remember, which we are now on Crowdcast. So that's one thing. I think I was a little bit heavier in that period.
I
I
know
know
I was.
well, I know okay. I know I was too, and I'm kind of dressed up in this clip too because I remembered I was going out to dinner with my friend afterwards, and we pulling.
What?
You stop pulling with your chest.
Sorry,
Amazing.
darling.
We're
I
just,
know it's
okay.
distracting.
My goodness. And so just get it straight. And so, anyways, we'll play the clip right now and then we'll discuss. On our show, we do want to talk about politics a little bit because they often bump into our having good sex here. And we want to make sure that the people that are in Washington have our best interests. And we can't keep talking about, we want to keep talking about George Santos, of
Mm,
course, who just won his seat here in Long Island, New York,
Long
for
Island.
Long Island. I just think this story will continue.
He should stay in limbo land. He should be thrown in the Bermuda Triangle, as far as I'm concerned. And because he is just a stunt queen, and stunt queens are going to stunt. All right. He's been doing
Yes.
it since he was 21. And I cannot wait for the Lifetime movie of his life because this is just insane to me. No, you got to unmute. You did? I can't hear you. Mm-mm.
I
Oh, there
think
you go. You're
yeah,
good.
it
That
was
was a nice,
unmuted.
delicious
Yeah, there seems to be a
mm.
little bit of delay for some weird reason,
I
but
think so,
anyways,
yeah.
yeah, okay. Anyways, wow, that was crazy because we were talking about George Santos. He had not been officially inducted into Congress at that time, and who are we still talking about the end of the year, and he is officially out of office. This is like a full year story that started at the beginning of 2023. And his story, although he will find a way to keep it going on his 15 minutes of fame, but talk about a neat package of 15 minutes of fame that was the year 2023. And he's given us so much. And Cody, you were spot on to say, okay, you said Lifetime movie, but he is getting an HBO documentary that's gonna be salacious, so I do think you predicted that.
Well, I know, right? I could see the future too. And also, we're throwing him in the Bermuda Triangle too, so there's that to look forward to as well. So, wow, I'm just firing on all cylinders. Yeah, George Santos has provided with us with a wealth of stories. We've reported on him for the entire year. I feel like every other week we were talking about him. So yeah, I mean, Congress finally caught up with me personally. So they got it right eventually.
It's just so weird that I mean, I guess it's not weird in this day and age. We've had Trump forever. We've had Giuliani to give us so much foolishness over the years. Why wouldn't we have a gay congressman that is a total liar, that is giving and giving and giving, very SNL? And I mean, his latest stuff just on Cameo is hilarious. People are getting him to do these crazy messages, video messages, if you guys know what Cameo is, and people are paying upwards of $500 to get these messages across. So,
What?
yeah,
He's really making that money.
he started at 200 and now he's at 500 and it's crazy. So,
Oh,
anyways, I
ridiculous.
mean, he's extending that 15 minutes of fame, but yes, I do think we looked a little bit different. Thanks,
Oh,
Alan.
definitely.
Alan says, "Steve, you look hot with glasses or without." Oh, thank you. So I appreciate that. But yeah, okay. Well, we've got to get into hot topics, and the U.S. Supreme Court just upheld a ban on LGBTQ plus conversion therapy in Washington State. And this so-called conversion therapy for minors remains banned in Washington State, thank goodness, after the U.S. Supreme Court declined to hear a challenge. The court made the decision not to hear the case of Tingley versus Ferguson after two lower courts previously rejected Brian Tingley's challenge, upholding the law to ban conversion therapy for minors. And it was actually brought forward by Tingley. He's a licensed family and marriage counselor who claimed that the SB 5722 impinged on his First Amendment rights of freedom of speech. But actually, Cody, some of the most conservative justices, and I'm talking about Brett Kavanaugh, Clarence Thomas, and Samuel Alito, dissented and said that it doesn't impinge on freedom of speech and that they still hold the fact, too, that anybody under the age of 18, you can't try and use some form of conversion therapy, whether that has to be religion or even old school ways of like shock therapy. They are not upheld and not allowed. And I didn't know this, Cody, but
Mhm.
approximately 27 US states partially or fully ban LGBTQ plus conversion therapy for minors. What about the rest of the
I
states?
know.
Do they? What did you think when you read that? And what do you think of this? I mean, even the most conservative justices upheld the law that remains.
I haven't said this in such a long time, but I'm so proud of the Supreme Court. I can't believe that this was even a question on the cusp of 2024. I can't believe we're still going to this archaic tactic of conversion therapy. I think it's been scarring people for so long, and it's just really ridiculous to me that someone would think that it impinged on their right, their amendment right to a freedom of speech. It's just insane to me. What about my right to exist? What about my right to not be electrocuted into mental despair in order for me to succumb or align myself with how your thoughts and feelings about me? Um, it incenses me. So I can't believe it. But I am very, very proud of the Supreme Court.
Yes, for Washington State, thank goodness. And we need that list of the other states that still somewhat allow it. And in other countries too, even in Europe,
Mhm.
they still allow forms of conversion therapy. Whether or not they enact any of these things, it still hasn't been banned as a ruling for minors. And that alone, I just think should be an obvious one. And I'm just at least happy to know that the Supreme Court, including the conservative ones, did the right thing in the end. So didn't even
Yeah.
want to hear this case.
And
So
can you even believe that this man has his license and he still believes in conversion therapy, something that has been debunked for years and years? I blame the University of the Phoenix personally.
me too. I agree. Good one. All right, let's move on to Houston. Uh-oh, Houston, we have a problem. That's when Houston condo residents have been outraged over public sex parties at a neighbor's Airbnb. And there's a video, I can actually put this on TAGSPodcast.com, episode 526. It's a news story of a Houston condo residency where it's been renting out for Airbnb. And women were walking out into the courtyard in G-strings and thongs. I think the most outrageous thing that was done was there's weapons involved,
Mhm.
guns. So people in the area that lived across the way felt unsafe because what's going to happen to them if they try and cause a ruckus. But the other thing that was crazy on a Monday morning in the window, and many of us know people like to have sex in hotel windows, and this one thing at the Standard Hotel, which is notorious, at least back in the day, to have sex in the floor to wall ceiling windows. But it's in New York City on the High Line or overlooking the West Side Highway, and it's New York City. This was in a Monday morning complex where this woman walked out and saw this woman getting fucked in doggy style in her window. And
Yeah.
it's like, that is so wrong on every level. But more importantly, we were talking about how and when and how to have a proper orgy, maybe not proper, but have an orgy. We were giving advice on a
No,
Reddit
no,
thread.
it was a proper orgy. The way they're doing is improper for sure.
Thank you. And I think I said in that because somebody had posted in the Reddit, what about doing it at an Airbnb? The writer wrote that. And I said, absolutely not. As a co host to my sister's condo, I say absolutely not. And you were saying in our meeting, well, I think it's one of the perfect places. I said, well, it's not allowed in ours as in many's because we have a strict rule, as many Airbnb hosts have, that only those that are renting the establishment. So if we're a four-bedroom in our condo in Puerto Vallarta, so only those four people can have. We've had people ask us, can we bring a fifth person? No, you cannot. And we'd rather not have you. No, we'd just rather have you not stay and not break the rules. And we definitely don't want parties, but we for sure, and I'm a sex positive person, obviously, do not want to have orgies there or sex parties there because it's going to make a mess. You're going to ruin the furniture with your lube. And it's a bad absolute no on every way you look at it, in my mind. How do you weigh in?
So, like you mentioned, okay, sip your drink, sis.
Sip
Okay.
drink your juice, Shelby.
So, like you mentioned in our meeting, at first I thought to myself, if you
Self.
Self. If you are an Airbnb purveyor, a person that rents out Airbnbs, you have to expect a certain amount of sex in those Airbnbs. But baby, that was before I watched this video. This video is insane, and I can't wait for people to watch it because there are, like you said, it's people in the window, there are people on the wall until the sweat drop down their balls. It is ridiculous. It's absolutely insane. These are people that clearly have no respect for the people in the neighborhood, the Airbnb itself, and for themselves, honestly. If it was me personally, you would not know that I had an orgy in anywhere that I have been because the place would be so immaculate. I was thinking about how I could actually have an orgy somewhere, and so that they would never know. And I would get tarp, and I would put it over
Oh my god.
everything. But I mean, I keeping it sexy, but I know that it is something that I have respect for these people and their home, and I would never want to. I want my deposit back, basically. So,
You know, you're
yeah.
right. You're right to say that, of course, whoever's renting the Airbnb. So, like, let's just continue on. I'm a co-host for my sister's condo where four people are allowed that are renting the Airbnb for a period of time. Those
Mhm.
four people could have their own orgy, and we don't need to know anything about it, and they are free to do whatever they want.
True.
If they make a mess, our cleaning lady's gonna tell us, and then there's a whole deposit thing, and we have not had anybody, of course, people are gonna have sex. I've had sex in Airbnbs, yes, but it was, like, me and who I went with, but even those 4 people in our case could stay at our place. They could all 4 of them have, be do whatever they want, and it could be super hot, and definitely. It's party after party inviting multiple people. Orgies imply multiple people, like there's an invite that's going out, or you're renting this particular place to have orgies. And that's making money off of somebody else's property, or that is abusing the rules. And, I just think that goes beyond it. Alan watching us live says, if it were a gay sex party, we'd be more discreet, dumbass breeders.
I'm telling you. And these people should actually probably be banned from Airbnb because at some point, where is the tipping point for them as far as them being disrespectful to the property? Because I'm telling you, if you when you watch the video, you will understand because I don't think that we could even do it justice just speaking about it because I was very aghast and I am not easily shockable. So yeah,
Yeah, me
it was wild.
too.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Okay, let us know how you weigh in. Moving on to somebody we also talked a lot about in 2023, Colton Underwood. He is putting homophobic, slut shaming haters on blast. So, the former bachelor actually posted this photo of him. It's kind of a sexy photo of him. He's standing in a bedroom. It's lit really beautifully, and he's reading a paper. He's in his socks, but naked, as far as we know, because he has a newspaper opened, and the quote says, "Front page fashion." Okay, sexy, I think. I thought it was a sexy picture. I might steal it for
The
my
idea, right?
yeah, because it's not
Yeah,
a bad one. Well,
I know.
so if we keep Colton, who was a former bachelor, ABC, so was in the breeder land at one point, came out as gay, as we all know, and he now has some bit of fame. I think he's engaged, correct? If not married already.
I don't
Do we
keep
know
up
that?
with Colton. I can figure it out really quick for
Okay.
you.
Well, the amount of comments of hate that he got may or may not have affected him. I'll read you some of them. Narcissistic. Are you in love with yourself? Craves attention. That's it. I'm out. Can't believe this dude was at one point the bachelor. He is so full of himself. Why? This is America, completely degraded. Even the privileged have to pawn themselves through porn. I feel for his family. Very sad. If my adult child posted anything of this sort, I'd be humiliated. This is such a sad post. Should I go on? There's more. All right, you get the point. What he did was, we should have probably got this picture, but what he did was he took the same picture of himself, reposted it, but put all of those comments over his body. And if I'm right, yeah, he didn't actually say anything. It was simply those comments and that post. And to me, that speaks more volumes than to try and speak to every one of those hateful people that trolled him. He must have known that at this point he's going to get a lot of that because of his storyline that we've dissected throughout the
Mhm.
year. He doesn't deserve it. I don't think that at all. But what I mean is, you must know that people are going to come for you because you switched teams practically. You were on The Bachelor, and this is what people love to do, the trolls I'm speaking of. And so I just think his response to kind of put that out there like that with those quotes speaks volumes. And kudos to him for thriving on and putting it over the picture that he originally wanted to post. And I'm sure we're going to get more of it. And those people can go away, they can continue to do it again, but at least his followers will have a little bit more understanding of what he maybe goes through. What did you think of this and his response?
First and foremost, I think Colton is married. So everything that I've seen says that they were engaged and now they are married. So just to clear that up. And secondly, I'm not necessarily a Colton fan, but no one deserves to be treated in this manner. The old adage says that words do not hurt. And I am here to tell you that words hurt very much. I understand why people are constantly want to tear. I don't understand why people want to constantly tear other people down. Like I said, Colton is not my fave, but I'm not going to his page and saying hateful things to him. He's a human being at the end of the day. And I think we need to have empathy for people. I know that I have posted things that are probably way worse than what he posted on the internet, on Instagram. So I have no reason to judge him. These people have no reason to judge him. And I would rather spend my energy uplifting the people that I love rather than trying to tear down people that I don't necessarily even I don't hate him, but I just don't necessarily care for him. He's not my cup of tea basically, but I have much better things to do and I say more love and less hate people.
I 100% agree with you. And he's not my favorite either, but that doesn't mean that he deserved all of that. I really love
Definitely.
his response because it reminds me very Madonna. What if you go to a lot of her concerts, she's posted in the past what people have said about her. I think she probably does it in her current tour, the Celebration tour, where people are talking about her being too old and many ageist comments. And she often makes a point by putting a lot of that up on the screen and then re flipping it and saying how
Oh.
she really feels. And I think it's a very powerful way of reclaiming your power and saying, this is what people listen, I want you all audience to know what people are saying about me, but in the end, I don't give a fuck, and I'm doing me. And it's a very, like, powerful way in many ways, I think, to take a stand to the haters, to put them on blast. And look how minuscule they seem because he actually put them on his body. So their
Yeah.
small little comments are just tiny, tiny little words and over his huge body. If I mean, there's almost like a a deeper meaning that you could take out of it that I think is kind of cool. It's like,
Oh, definitely.
keep saying those things. Look how small you are on my left bicep over here. Look how teeny and tiny you seem covering up my dick. And by the way, you're on my dick, motherfucker. So
But
I think it's
also
kind of a subtle way and a fuck you to the haters to be like, look it, you don't win in the end
mhm,
because you don't affect me, but I'm gonna put your teeny tiny little hateful words on my beautiful body.
I agree with you, but also going with that same analogy and that same way of thinking, those little things, it also shows that they add up because they're all over his body. And eventually, all of that negativity is going to weigh you down. So, that is a very good way of thinking of it, Steve. And wow. It's a who knew Colton Underwood was this metaphorical? I love him now. Okay, I'm back on his team.
I think it's really brilliant. Bryce watching us live. Hello, Bryce. Says, I agree. We are humans and we need to give ourselves the grace to evolve. Yes, love that
Yes.
as well. Okay. Keep letting us know how you feel on these comments, on these stories, and we couldn't help but talk about recent adult performers were asked the question to spill on why they joined the industry and how long they plan to stay in it. And many of us know that the job isn't for everyone. And I actually can weigh in a little bit on this a little bit later, as I just barely started my OnlyFans in conjunction for the many things that I am doing. We talked recently about Austin Wolf's Collab Week in Puerto Vallarta. And when posed with the question, we'll read a few of them, starting with Paul Cassidy. Paul Cassidy ended up in the adult film industry by accident. So he originally thought a normal modeling company was just trying to approach him, but he didn't realize that he was actually being recruited by a top porn studio. Quote, I was 18. I was working 3 jobs after school, and I come from a very small village. When I was 18, I went for a body competition and I got contacted by Bellamy. I went to the capital city and they started recording me. Then he asked me to jack off, and I got really red. After we talked, I thought, if I do this home for free, why would I make money? The star has gone on to build a huge following and a name for himself, but actually doesn't plan on staying in the industry much longer. He'd like to switch to fitness in his future. Um, beautiful Jacob Ethan Dale
Mhm.
joined OnlyFans after earning a ton of followers on social media. And with over 600,000 followers on TikTok, he decided to switch things up and jump into porn. Quote, I've always loved sex. As I started exploring my sexuality, I started to look on TikTok. The pandemic gave us an opportunity to see it outside of our circles. We have special pressures to be a certain way, so I decided to just jump and do it. What began as just a dabble in adult entertainment has now turned into a full fledged career. Quote, when I started, I thought I was going to do it just for a few months, and then it completely changed my life. And I just celebrated 3 years. I don't see it as an end. I'll do it at least a couple more years. And the one that I thought was resonated a little bit with me was well, there was one guy, Michael Boston, who actually tried to submit himself to major studios and
Mhm.
they just kept turning him down. And so he ended up just doing material on his own and he's thriving away. Josh Moore, though, fans of Josh Moore have seen him evolve quite like a lot over the years, from studio to homemade material. The porn star has quite literally bent over backwards to keep up with his demand for his high performing content. And he started as a twink, but he hopes to work in the adult industry for the rest of his life. Quote,
Oh,
I'm
wow.
going to do this until I'm old and gray. Seriously, I went from twink to twunk. I'm going to go to daddy, and then I'm going to be grandpappy. I'm going to be in the industry until I'm dead. I have no plans to exit the industry anytime soon. Every year gets better and better. And Cody, I think what I really love about this story is the honesty that everybody came from and that everybody had a different take on how they got into it. And I think oftentimes we homogenize everybody's viewpoint into one and oh, everyone just wants to be famous and everyone just wants, it's and there isn't one storyline that fits for everybody and some of them got into it by accident. Of course, there's a lot of pandemic stories. I never thought I
Mhm.
would do it. I just sort of teased around of with my OnlyFans, but I thought I've been hosting a gay sex podcast for 6 years. I'm 52 and I think I could offer something on the later in life kind of or mature side, I will
Mhm.
say. side of the spectrum that maybe is a little bit different as a person of color, and I'm doing it my way. It's not my end all be all, but it's not also on left field. I think when I told people I was doing it, including my sister even, she was like, "Of course you're doing that. Why wouldn't you? You have a sex podcast." And so I think everybody comes to it in different ways, and there could be a lifespan of it. There maybe doesn't need to be, but we're in an age where we're talking about it more. In the old days, you didn't talk about why you got into it. Nobody, and now people are. What do you think about these people that are giving their responses onto why they got into the adult industry?
I love it. It only humanizes them. It makes them seem more like actual people because sex workers are people at the end of the day. So I think that getting into their heads about their motivations and things of that nature, what they expect from their future, because they all expect to have futures as far as their lives and what they want for them lives. They have goals and dreams and things of that nature. So I think that it's great. I think that talking to all of them and reading all of their stories really let me get to know a part of them that I did not know before just by watching their porn, because I have seen all of their porn, by the way. So I just think that it's great. Also, telling and hearing the stories, even just now, I realized that I have been approached a couple times by twice actually, once in Puerto Rico and by a porn studio. I think it was some Poppy something back in the day, and once for should I say the name of it's Raw Fuck Club. Raw Fuck Club. I was approached by them as well to be a part of maybe model for them or something like that back in the day when I was much younger. So I could be this could be my story as well. So it really enabled me to see myself in them. And I thought that it was really fantastic to get their viewpoints on a lot of things in the
Yeah.
industry.
Right, and where some people, they got into it by accident, other people chose to do it. Like, mine's a choice to go into it now because I want to. We had Susan Bratton on, she's been on this show before. She's 62 and has her OnlyFans too, and I said this before, they give me license to show my sex positivity now, and it's a choice that I'm doing this, and it's a positive choice that I'm doing this, and I own it, and I'm really excited about this journey that I'm on with it. And so I think that's taking the stigma out of, oh, they just did it because they had to do it, or there's, shame in it. It's like, no, 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 don't get it twisted. We A lot of us are doing it because we want to do it. And so yeah, and invite anyone to check out mine. It's Sexy Poppy Steve V. Sexy Poppy Steve V on OnlyFans.
Wait a
And
minute. Did you try to recruit me back in the day? I think you said Poppy.
I mean,
No, we are sisters.
I love it. Yes, exactly. Bryce says, holy fuck, does Bellamy have one person of color? I went to the website, so I honestly didn't know they still existed. They definitely still exist.
They
I
definitely do.
think you're right, maybe on, they're very Eastern Europe. Cody, do you know? Do they have anybody person of color at this point?
I can't think of one person.
Is it also because maybe they're in, I remember back in the day, I went to Prague, and it was the 90s, and it was when Bellamy just was getting going, and there was no person of color in Prague
In the
at that
90s.
time. In the
Not
90s. I don't
now.
know. I mean, I don't know. I haven't been to Prague since then. So, I mean, I would like to think that there's more people and they would recruit
Maybe
more
I should move to
people.
Prague, and then they can recruit me. I can be on Bellamy.
There you go. Instead of Poppy Thugs.
I know, right?
I love it. Oh my god. Okay, well, let's move on to, oh my goodness, I almost lost my train of thought. Yes, we are going on to body parts, something that is a theme on this episode, and there's a recent study that looked at desirable size of the male butt. So this is gonna be fun because then we're
Can I
going on
say
to, Yeah,
I'm so excited for this topic.
we both were because we were talking about it,
Yeah, I'm so excited.
and the ever old question, what constitutes a nice butt on a man? They actually, in this study, asked both straight and gay men. And the study appeared in the latest issue of Plastic and Reconstructive Surgery, a medical journal of the American Society of Plastic Surgeons. And they did over 2,000 people who took part in it, including 61% men, 75% identified as hetero, with 25 as gay, bi, or queer. And they were shown digitally altered images of the male derriere from three different angles. So from the side, the back, and at a slightly oblique angle to the camera, and then asked to indicate what they found most attractive. So we can show this picture, I think. Do you have it to show it in our repertoire, Cody? I put it up there as I read a little
Okay,
bit more.
I'll get it going.
So they want here's some of the key things that they ask people: the thigh to buttock ratio. And while previous studies have evaluated the features of attractive female buttocks, no one has really studied the ideal male buttocks. So the results of this particular study said preferred male gluteus. The findings suggest that a moderately enhanced, well proportioned appearance is most desirable. To give more specific results, the preferred lateral ratio dimensions, well, I won't even read that because it's kind of obscure in their
Mhm,
finding, but we can show you, and then we can talk about gay men because the study broke the results down by race and sexuality, among other factors. When Black participants tended to favor the larger thigh to butt ratio, while white participants went for the slightly smaller. Gay participants also favored a slightly larger thigh to butt ratios. Half of the male participants said they wanted to change their buttocks. 41% said they wanted firmer buttocks, while 30% they wanted to change their shape. And do we have that picture up there? Okay,
Oh,
here it
yeah.
is. So as you can see in this diagram, and I'll post this on TAGSPodcast.com. I feel like we're doing a seminar here.
I was gonna say we're
And
scientists now.
from left to right, we have various size butts on the top level. And I don't know, Cody. I mean, how do you weigh in on this? Because I love a good, so like for me personally, and then I want you to,
Mhm.
I'm one of these butts, but I'm not like the biggest butt out there, but I do a lot of squats.
Mhm.
And I'm one of those that wasn't naturally born with a bigger butt, but I've done squats since oh my God, I'm like forever. And I actually have developed a more muscular butt, and it does curve outside of my waistline significantly, but not like huge. But it is more on the firmer side just because I've done squats my entire life. And I just did them earlier today. So I'm still doing them. I do them once a week, heavy barbell squats, and that's how I've gotten my ass the way I. How do you weigh in on this, and what's your favorite ideal butt?
First of all, I wanna say I never knew I loved science so much as today. Yay, science. They're answering the age-old questions that we've always been asking ourselves. But I found this study very enlightening. I don't know if it told me anything that I didn't know, but it definitely affirmed a lot of things that I already thought that I knew about the male anatomy and butts in general. So I mean, I'm a black gay man, so I'm definitely going to be on the larger spectrum. I found that I was most attracted to the 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 second to largest and then the largest butts personally. So I mean I like them thicker. I can't say anything else. But I mean all butts are beautiful. So I wouldn't deny the guy all the way to the left. I think that, I would still eat it like it's groceries, so but I do like them thicker, and I like to climb that mountain. I will be your James, you giant peach. I love all of those things, so, yeah, I'm here for it. I'm glad that this study has finally come out. What do you think?
I definitely appreciate a good butt for sure, but it's I like you to have a decent butt for sure, but, I am not that particular, because I think bigger, smaller, I can get into both of them, and I think sometimes put so much people put so much emphasis on the butt, and, like, if you watch a lot of those videos, they're, like, jiggling the butt kinda thing, and wouldn't even do that really in real life that
Oh,
much. I don't think to
I
somebody
do.
well, I mean, I wouldn't just because I think and sometimes I think people go overboard with that whole thing. That's never been like a thing for me to do to somebody else. I mean, as long as you have like a nice butt, and I just think that some people go overboard like, to have that certain jiggly size butt, that's a lot of more genetics that only a certain portion of people really have, and I think this study was done by plastic surgeons, and I've been around people that have had surgically enhanced buttocks, and it's not really, to me, in my opinion, the most flattering thing. I can
Okay.
tell that it's been surgically enhanced, and it feels like it's surgically enhanced, and it doesn't naturally fall with the person that it's attached to. So I don't really think I only think a certain amount of people have those kind of jiggly kind of butts. Mine's like big and round, but it's more because I've done work on it, like squats, not surgically enhanced. And so I look for guys that have those kind of butts too, because I think they're doing like work to get their butt like that. It's not just because they were genetically born that way. So I just think, I'd rather people just be work on what you have and make it look the best it can look. That's my personal opinion. And I just think it's a small fraction of people that were genetically born to have that. And even then, they have to watch it too because it can get out of control too. And the study says that not everybody likes it overly big. The study says that.
I like it out of control. Can I ask you a quick question though? What do you think about the smallest butt all the way here on the left there? That is still a really good butt in my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. I think it
That's a
looks great. I mean,
yeah.
this is all AI too,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
picture and listening audience for the podcast. I will post this on Tags Podcast reference episode 526, so you'll have a reference point to look at. But know that these are AI generated. They're not even real. So there is that to consider, and that's what
I mean, they
people
still
were
look
being
juicy.
asked. I think all of them look really good, and that's the thing is, are these indicative of everybody's ass? Because I think not, and
I think not
they
too.
chose a certain selection of what desirability was, I think, and
Yeah.
to me, all of them in every phase look good, but it's AI generated, so I don't know what that says about me, but they all look good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
So
they're only trying to make butt enhancements look better. So I'm glad they're
yeah.
doing the study.
Yeah. Moving on to other body parts, and now we're talking about chess. And it's a recent gay Twitter comment where I actually participated in it. And a guy wrote, quote this with your best chess pick of 2023, please. Well, it actually went viral on gay Twitter where 17 million views actually caught this, and it continues to grow where people are posting their best chess pick. And it begs the question in a recent study that chest may be the number one thing that we like and look at when it comes. This is a 2021 survey from Boney and Beasley.
Ooh.
Sure who they are, but
Sounds like
according
a
to
good time to me.
it does. According to this study in 2021, a whopping 46% of gay men said they found the chest muscle group the most attractive. The second most attractive, arms at 15%, followed by legs and shoulders. So legs being 14% and shoulders being 11%. And only 2% of respondents said the butt muscles were the most attractive. So who knows? Maybe 2024 will be the year of the booty based on this current study that we're talking about. But I think that chest is, well, you've been fiddling with your chest this entire
I
show. So you
mean, I knew we were gonna talk
currently,
about this, so I'm trying to I've been trying to get
I
it
asked
out there.
I post a thirst promo for this show every Wednesday on my Instagram to get people hopefully to watch our show, and it's always shirtless. And yeah, I definitely work on my chest, but I work on my whole body. But
Yeah.
yes, I look for chest in men for sure. It's one of the, I would say it's probably one of the top things I look at. How about you?
Oh, yes. I am a chest and butt man. So these are my 2 favorite things that we're talking about back to back. I might have to go in the other room in just a second. I don't know if I can finish the show, but this is amazing. So thank you for this. Thank you for doing this for me in this show. You better believe I added my own picture to that Twitter thread because I'm very proud of my chest. It's something that I work on constantly, and because I know that it's something aesthetically that I enjoy. So why not take that as far as I can for other people's enjoyment as well? And I know that I want to look as good as I can for myself. So um secondly, I love the discourse in the actual thread because it provides so much body positivity. There's all shapes and sizes in that thread. There's every color in the rainbow in that thread. There's trans people in that thread, and I just am here for it. So kudos to Zack Attack 26 for starting the thread. So I love it.
Absolutely. Definitely. Really great stuff. Let us know how you weigh in on these body parts. What are your favorite body parts? You can always DM us or go to tagspodcast.com. Let us know your favorite body parts or on you, and also what you look for, because I also think they're not always in sync. What you maybe work on for yourself or take pride in. I mean, I think for me, I total body. There's not one part I focus on more than others. I'm really bummed if I don't get my shoulders in, and that's always the one that gets slid out of the week if it's a busy, busy week. And I'm always like, ugh, didn't get the shoulders, but I'm getting to it this week. So, yeah.
Get it.
Yeah. Okay. Bryce says, "Men with beautiful big eyes. That'll get me every time." Oh yeah, we were talking body parts. I love the eyes as well. Definitely. Very good. Absolutely. Okay. We've got only a couple. We have so many topics we could get to. Do you want to do the Cody, the one on porn theater?
I am down for any of these, honestly. They're all really good topics. So
I
I know that's not really helping, but
It's not helpful, but that's okay. So we'll do this one since I pulled it up, and it's this really interesting story I'm going to link to by the LA Times, and it's written by a woman, but it's called Inside the Last Porn Theater in Los Angeles. And the theater is, I believe, I'll get the name in a second, but it is, it's in East Hollywood. It's a movie theater. And with so many movie theaters, even in LA, and I'm talking about like the IMAX screens and going out of business, this one is still one of the last theaters that still remain that shows adult films and gay adult films. And when asked the question, like, why do you like going to these still? And this guy, Mark, is 34. And the theater's called Tiki. Quote, "I
Yep.
just want to feel free here, watching something very primal. And I think sex is beautiful, and I like sharing it with others, whether the energy is weird or not." Mark described it as he described himself as gay with a side of bi and declined to share his last name, which I totally appreciate on that. But it got me thinking because at one point in the probably the 70s, but definitely 80s and 90s, I started going in the late 80s, early 90s to theaters. I'm thinking of the Nob Hill Cinema in San Francisco and a few others in the Bay Area, San Francisco. And I remember sneaking into these theaters and feeling like I was doing something wrong, but it was so exciting to me. And one of my favorite stories was going in, watching it amongst other people and feeling that excitement. And they had performances at this theater as well.
Ooh.
And one of the performers was a porn star by the name of Chris Stone. And he's no longer doing porn anymore, but at the time he was really hot. And I remember he was performing and jerking off, and this guy next to me blew his load way into the air because he was so turned on, and I was so beside myself. And I think I told the story years ago, but it's worth telling again. You could meet these porn stars after their performances in between films, and I went back to this area in the back to meet him. Well, Chris Stone was in this contraption. It was like it was very space age, so he was enclosed in this plastic bubble, and he was dancing, and you could touch him through this glove that you put your hand through. And I think it was because it was really post AIDS, right? Or
Yeah.
still AIDS was happening. And so you could touch him through this glove, and it was really strange, but I did, and I was so excited. But Chris actually flirted with me and said, "I'm off. I'm not allowed to take anybody home. But if you meet me outside the theater at 10 p.m." And I picked him up in my Toyota pickup truck that was my dad's, and he drove me to the Safeway on Market Street for what? To buy condoms. And I was so embarrassed. He says, "No, we need these." And we went back to his hotel, and he was my first top ever. He topped me. He taught me how to bottom, but also he did it safely with condoms because it was 1990 2 and or 1, and it was one of the best experiences, but so much fun. But yeah, somebody just, "You have to write a book, Stevie." I know. It's coming.
It's
But
coming.
what are your thoughts on these early theaters? Did you ever go to them? Did you like them?
No, I'm a good Christian girl. I don't No, actually, I've been many, many times. Me and my friends used to call it church, so
Who are you praying to?
On my knees, baby, all
Okay.
to the idol, honey. Yeah, so I have been to mainly this started in Philadelphia. That is where my sexual awakening happened. Basically, I was coming out in my 20s and I was going out much more. I was like 21, 22. This was back in 2000 something, 2015. Okay, cute.
Oh, please, girl.
No, it was really cute, and I think that me being able to go somewhere where there were all gay men and experiencing this type of carnal, just everybody was out down for anything, and it was really great. Sansom Street Theater, shout out to them because
Okay.
I know I had to Google it because I didn't remember the name of it, but it was I would watch the videos and the movies, and everything and anything that you can think of would be happening in these theaters. So I really got the time of my life there. I did not get to meet any porn stars, so I'm incredibly jealous of you and your story. But across the street was a video booth, and I got the best blowjob of my life in that video
Wow.
booth. It was I went in there, we watched, I popped a quarter in the thing, this guy came in and he got on his knees and he went to town, and it was fantastic. So, I've been to many of these theaters and I have enjoyed myself thoroughly, and I want to go more. I don't know if there are any in New York City.
Well,
So
Alan watching us live mentioned the Gaiety, and I
oh,
remember
there it
that
is.
in Times Square. It used to be like what I described, where you would watch a movie, and I got to go in 1994. It was the Gay Olympics, and it was my first trip here to New York City in 1994. and we did everything. It was a group of 4 of us, and I'm so happy I got to go to the Gaiety before it closed down because it was still part of that 42nd Street, that gritty where they
Oh,
had the
yeah?
porn shops and all that. The Gaiety was the gay, and they showed movies, but they also had performances in between the films. It was a brilliant concept if you think about it, and probably wouldn't work today as much.
Mhm.
But I think the whole thing about porn back then was that it was exciting. I mean, I like where we're at now, of course. You can watch porn quickly, and there's OnlyFans, and people can
Yeah.
create their own content. But there was something really sexy back in the day with the studio porn, and many of these porn stars would go to these theaters showing these films, and they would perform. It was kind of their way of getting out to the public. And this is pre phones and all that. And so this was their
Yeah.
way of really getting their name out. And they would go from city to city to city, almost on tour, if you will, to either show their film or perform so you could meet them in person. Who knows? Maybe they did a little escorting as well. I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
And it was just a different time, but it was exciting time. And I'm glad I was a part of it at that point. But
Me
yeah,
too. Yeah, it just seemed like a more communal experience, especially as far as going to these theaters and experiencing this thing with a group of men who were all trying to do the same thing as you. So it was
yes.
really great.
Good
Yeah.
word, communal, that it really was. I mean, to talk about communal, I've heard some stories where people would go to in San Francisco, and I didn't go to this, but on Sundays, and they would spend all day at some of these theaters. And I think it was our former co-host that talked about it, Steve Carpenter, and he said they would bring donuts on Sunday. And a
To the
huge
point
donuts.
theater?
It was almost a social, and you would have donuts and coffee and then go into the theater and just kinda spend all day there. It was very civilized, if you will.
And then they went in the theater and got uncivilized is what happened.
Yeah. Bryce asked the question, "Was porn more exciting back in the day because it was so much more harder to access?" In many ways, I think it was.
Yeah,
I think it was a little more exciting back then. The difference that I think now is I think there's less stigma and people are more sex positive. And with things like OnlyFans, people can create their own content that they want to. That's a little more niche. So with the good, with time comes good. I think it's all working out the way it needs to, but there is a
exactly.
nostalgia for that older period, I think.
I think we should start a porn, theater and make it that niche experience
Oh my
again.
God.
We have 8 million jobs.
Exactly. Well, I think you guys were playing this last week, and
Yes, we
it's
did.
straight up gay porn. And I put the link in our conversation there. And we have been playing this game since we've been doing this by straight up gay porn. We are now up to choosing Thirst Trap King of the Year, asking the question, who took the best pick of the year for 2023? And it's been narrowed down in the last several weeks. And I think you did round two last week, Cody.
Yep, we sure did.
So we are now down to the final, and it's our job to pick who will be the thirst trap king. I will post this on tagspodcast.com, episode 526, and you can vote as well. I voted for mine. It was a hard one, but of course,
It
it's the
was.
creme de la creme. I am going with Derek Cage,
That's not who I
Kage,
thought.
because he is because I kinda wanna do this pick for my OnlyFans. He is in a sling with his legs spread open, showing his hole with straps. He must be wearing a jock strap, but his hole is present, and he's has a fist on his cock, pushing the cock outward. So I wanna recreate this. Thanks, Derek Cage. I hope you win because for giving me inspiration. I actually have a sling, so I kind of want to do it for mine. And he gets my vote, but that's who I hope to win. Who do you hope to win as the Thirst Trap King of 2023, Cody?
So first of all, like you said, all of these guys are so they're so deserving of this honor, and I think that I honestly thought you were gonna pick Uncut Lock because he's so hot,
He
but
is.
my vote this week is going to Teddy's Choice last week, and my runner up from last week because I got distracted by Josh Moore and all of the cum that was on him.
And remember, you're choosing the winner of the year here.
Yeah, I
So
mean, I choose
this is
Andy
not just picking a
Rodriguez.
weekly thing. Oh, yeah.
I
Oh,
know.
good.
I get it. He is sitting in a window and he's on a counter in front of a skyline and he's completely naked with the hardest cock possible. He's leaned back like, come suck this dick, bitch. And it's so hot. He's partially engulfed in shadow, and I would come suck that suck that dick like it's a big like a bitch. So
I
yeah.
love it. Yes. Andy Rodriguez, you said correct,
Yes.
is hot.
So
And
hot.
yes. And Bryce says Derek Cage for him as well. Okay. But Lydian should win for his content. Okay. I like that.
I like
Good
Lydian
stuff.
too. Yeah.
Oh my
I think
gosh. And
all of
we're
them are deserving. Yes.
They are. I mean, we're talking about the creme de la creme, the final finale. It's the season finale of 2023 here. Well, we have more episodes coming your way. It's the countdown to the end of the year. So we're going to be doing more year in review next week. So you want to stay tuned for that. We've got a special guest coming up on Tags Live next week. And we also have a new Of a Certain Age dropping next week with Jeremy Ross Lopez, talking all about fashion, as well as our special guest, Ashley Thomas. It's going to be a really fun week as we count down the end of 2023, Cody. So
I
much to, I
know.
know. You can always follow Cody. He's a life coach at KMD Coaching on Instagram, or his personal account at Mr. Maurice. And stay tuned for 2023 because he's got a song dropping from title track of a Certain Age. So you want to stay tuned for that. You can follow me on the gram. I am _ Steve V. You can also follow my new OnlyFans. I would love it if you did. New content coming every week. OnlyFans.com/sexy poppy Steve V. Sexy poppy Steve V. Who's that?
It's you,
Anyway.
baby.
And in the meantime, we want to thank our live virtual audience. The show gets repackaged, but thank you. Visit episode 526 on tagspodcast.com. And in the meantime, continue having hot,
Hot
gay
gay
sex.
sex.
Lovely.